September 9, 2013.
So move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. I will now call on Senior Vice Chancellor Frederick Schaefer to introduce item 1B1, amendments to the university's intellectual property policy.
Thank you. This is a revision to the intellectual property policy that accomplishes principally one thing, which there's some minor touch-ups, but the main substantive change is to eliminate an intellectual property committee that was originally created to assist in decision-making with respect to which inventions by faculty should be commercialized. And we had a lot of terrific faculty who worked from time to time on this committee. But the truth of the matter is that at most universities, commercialization decisions are made by a chief technology commercialization officer who's really much more attuned to the economics and the marketplace in this area, and that the very fine faculty that we have in the sciences who understand the science of these inventions aren't always the best people or even the relevant people to be participating in decision-making about what's going to sell in the marketplace. And I think both from the administration point of view and the faculty point of view, I think there was a realization over time that these committee meetings were not fruitful, and that at the end of the day, the decision really was being made by the head of the technology commercialization office. And so we, in revising this policy, I think we just recognize that reality. As I said, it is the way in which almost every other university makes these decisions. And so that's the principal substantive change. I should also point out that just a couple days ago, I got some technical comments from a member of the University Faculty Senate who often communicates with me. He's a lawyer on these kinds of sort of technical wording issues, and I'm still reviewing his comments. As I've looked at them, none of them are substantive, but it's an attempt and a very helpful attempt to make sure that the different pieces of the policy are consistent with one another. And so if there are some minor amendments, I will, unless somebody objects, and if the committee approves these changes to the policy, I will incorporate any of the technical suggestions from the University Faculty Senate that make sense.
Are there any comments, questions?
Just to confirm what we were just told, the University Faculty Senate polled the members of that committee, and the consensus was that that committee could be replaced.
And better spend their time in making new inventions.
Making inventions. Well said.
Okay. I will now call the question. Do I have a motion to approve item 1B1?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any abstentions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Will President Karen Gould join us to introduce items 1B2 through 1B11, a series of naming opportunities at Brooklyn College? We will consider these 10 items as a group. Thank you.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I am here to briefly present items 2 through 11, and these are spaces that will soon be constructed in our wonderful new Leonard and Claire Tao Performing Arts Center, and we wanted to make sure that the rooms themselves and the rehearsal space and even the studio and the theater were all named prior to the building's opening, and so they are presented to you here. They are all identified on the architectural drawings.
Okay. Any questions, any comments? May I have a motion to approve items 1B2 through 1B11?
I move it.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Will Interim President Chase Robinson please join us to present items 1B12 and 1B13, two naming opportunities at the Graduate Center. Again, we will consider these two items as a group.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to present these two items. As a recent article in the New York Times pointed out, the nature of PhD education is changing in important ways. And item number 12 reflects the Graduate Center's resolution, not merely to reflect that change, but to drive it. And in fact, in our new Professional Development Center, we have what will turn out to be an extraordinarily important resource for our students as they pursue non-academic as well as academic jobs. Albert Gerdner was a long-term friend and supporter of the Graduate Center, and we are very keen to acknowledge his contribution as well.
Thank you. Any discussion on the item? There being none, I'll call the question. May I have a motion to approve items 1B12 and 1B13?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. May I ask President James Muskins to join us to introduce item 1B-14, a naming opportunity at Queens College.
Thank you, I appreciate this opportunity, and I'm quite excited to present this one. As you know, I am a philosopher, and often philosophy gets shortchanged in the philanthropy business, but Don Brownstein is a graduate of Queens College in philosophy. He was my colleague when I was Dean of Arts and Science at the University of Kansas. He was my colleague in the philosophy department. But he decided that he should move on from philosophy and went into investment work. And that's
Wise choice.
why today he's able to give us $1 million for scholarships. But the people he likes to hire in his business are philosophers, people who have a great understanding of humanities, so his scholarships will be for students in those areas. So I ask your approval of that.
May I have a motion to approve item 1B-14?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? There being none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries. Thank you. President Gail Mello will introduce item 1B-15, a naming opportunity at LaGuardia Community College.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm pleased to present for your approval or review the naming of the B.I.J. STEM Physics Lab at LaGuardia Community College. B.I.J. was actually the father of Arthur Stam and started what is now a multinational manufacturing company. The Stams have been extraordinarily generous, both in terms of time and money to LaGuardia, and we would like to honor him with the naming of this lab.
May I have a motion to approve item 1B-15?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That completes our policy calendar. We will now move on to the Chancellor's University report items. President Mello, will you stay with us to introduce item 1C1, the appointment of a new vice president at your college?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for strategically aligning my two requests. I bring before you Susan Lyden, who is an extraordinary individual in terms of her ability to manage public relations in order to benefit the college. Susan really has an extraordinary ability in strategic communications. Her linkages with external funding has resulted in this last year in a 31% increase in our external fundraising, and we hope to do even more of that next year. She is able to manage all of the systems, both bringing in money and also making the college's reputation. We've increased media coverage significantly. We are embarking on social media, and Susan's dedication to this process is very much a part of why we've been able to do that. She comes to us with a very broad background, having started a school in Jakarta, Indonesia. She's done tutoring in Japan and Belfast, Ireland, worked with the Food Stamp Media Outreach Campaign. She's diverse, she's talented, she's been an incredible asset to LaGuardia, and I ask for your approval for her nomination.
Fine, thank you. I will now call the question. May I have a motion to approve item 1C1?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries. Congratulations, Ms. Lydon. Would you care to address the committee?
Thank you. It really has been a privilege to have served CUNY and LaGuardia Community College for the past 5 years. To learn from such amazing leadership has been such an honor. And really never in my career have I worked for an institution that is so clearly transformed into individual lives and communities, and that really lifts individuals to the middle class. And this is important work, and I'm proud to continue to serve LaGuardia. I believe in our students and CUNY and LaGuardia, and I thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
President Jennifer Rabb, please join us to introduce items 1C2 and 1C3, two appointments at Hunter College. We will consider each appointment separately.
Thank you. I'm very pleased today to bring before the board the consideration of the appointment of Patricia Moran as Vice President of Institutional Advancement at Hunter College. As many of you may remember, we were here in January with another wonderful candidate who came through a national search and the board approved, and who was tragically taken very seriously ill immediately after her appointment. We then began another national search, and we're very, very lucky to be able to identify and recruit Pat Moran, because she has had really an incredible portfolio over 28 years in a very wide variety of mostly academic fundraising leadership roles, with more progressive responsibility. So she comes to us with a great understanding of Hunter College. She was most recently the Vice President for Institutional Advancement at a small women's college in Pennsylvania, and therefore knows many of the issues that are related to a college that was formerly an all-women's school. She has also worked in New York City, both at Fordham and at Columbia University, and before that in the University of Illinois. So she has had a really wide portfolio of academic experience, which really suits the very wide range of Hunter with its large liberal arts school and its 4 professional schools and its elementary and high school. So our portfolio is broad, her experience is very broad. And Pat joined us in September and has really hit the ground running and has great support from our team and from the staff in IA. So we're very grateful for her interest and are very excited to bring her to the board.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve item 1C2?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Congratulations, Ms. Moran. Would you care to address the committee?
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity to be a part of the Hunter team and advancement for CUNY. I've spent most of my career in higher education fundraising, and personally I'm very committed to public education. And in today's world, as we all know, private support is critical to the success of our colleges and universities. I'm happy to be at Hunter. It's a vibrant, exciting place. The faculty and students, and especially the graduates of the institution, are so encouraging of our success. So thank you very much, and I look forward to working with you.
Congratulations.
Our second candidate is the request for appointment of Vincent D. Grippo as the acting vice president for administration and finance at Hunter College. Vinny has a long and wonderful experience in a number of agencies in New York City where he has dealt with both finance, operations, and facilities, a portfolio very similar to the one he will be working with at Hunter College. He's most recently been the Deputy Commissioner of Management and Budget at the New York City Police Department, an area of really extraordinary responsibility, particularly in today's world, and comes to us with really an incredible number of recommendations from so many people who have served the city and many people who have then come to join the CUNY community. Our Vice Chancellor Mark Shaw, on the way out, I just was able to introduce Vinny to Mark, and Mark said that this is just like everything else you've done except without the guns. So I think Vinny's happy to come here without the guns, but is somebody who, on that point, is somebody who is very much committed to the mission of education. He has an undergraduate degree from Boston College and then a master's in history. So he is very much interested in pursuing the nuts and bolts and facilities and budgets and technology that will make Hunter College an even stronger place. So we were very, very lucky to be able to recruit him with his very extraordinary and strong and relevant experience. And I am very happy to introduce him to the board. And he asked me to remind you that he's wearing a band around his arm, not because he is hospitalized himself, but because he just had a new baby yesterday. So he has to wear his little band so he can go back and see his little son. So it is a pleasure to introduce a new member of the Hunter family and welcome his new family, Vinny Grippo.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve item 1C3?
So moved.
Will hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Grippo. Would you care to address the committee? Congratulations on the baby.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, I want to thank the board and, of course, thank President Rob for the opportunity. My father worked in education his entire career, so he worked his way up. He was a teacher, assistant principal, and ultimately a school superintendent in Brooklyn for many, many years. And one of the things he always preached, both at home and to his students, was the importance of college education. And he was quick to tell his students that regardless of their economic condition, everyone can get a college education, fortunately, because of the CUNY system and the opportunity that it provides. I am very, very excited to get the opportunity to join that system and to take the work that I've done in budget and facilities and work in academia and in education, doing that same work. And I'm really excited to be welcomed into the Hunter College team. I've met the team. It's a very, very strong team. Hunter has a long track record of success, and President Rob over the last 12 years has established that it is going to continue to be one of the really high-performing universities in the CUNY system. So I'm just very excited. Thank you.
Congratulations to you. May I have a motion to approve item 1C4?
No, wait, James Meiskens.
Oh, I'm sorry. President James Meiskens.
Thank you. I'm pleased to bring before you the name of Adam Rockman, who we're presenting, hoping you'll approve as the Vice President of Student Affairs at Queens College. Some of you may know that a few years ago we had a very, very strong senior leadership team at Queens. That was the good news. The bad news was we got raided, and many of them left to become college presidents, and one of those was our Vice President of Student Affairs. And so we've rebuilt that team, and I think it's a very strong team, but we have one piece left, and that's to have someone in the role of Vice President of Student Affairs. We did not have to look far, although we did a search, because the person who had been Assistant Vice President for Academic Affairs, Adam Rockman, and had served as acting Vice President of Student Affairs when Joe Bertolino was an ACE Fellow, came out as the candidate we really wanted. He has a bachelor's degree from University of Massachusetts Amherst in psychology and Spanish. He has a master's in social work from University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and is completing his doctorate right now. He has been at a number of other institutions, including FIT and Princeton, where he was the director of student housing, which is something very important to us at Queens College. So I present to you Adam Rockman.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve item 1C4?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Rockman. Would you care to address the committee?
Yes, thank you to this committee for allowing me this opportunity. I have been in student affairs administration for 25 years, as President Meiskens mentioned, at a number of different institutions. The last 8 years, I've served very proudly at Queens College and the CUNY system. The Queens College students are, bar none, the most amazing students I've met in my quarter-century career. They continue to amaze me and challenge me on a daily basis, and I'm very excited to have the opportunity to continue working with them. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to you. President Diane Call, please join us to introduce item 1C5, an appointment at Queensborough Community College.
Thank you and good evening. I'd like to present for your consideration Dr. Michael Barry Reiner as our Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs. Dr. Reiner has served for over 30 years in higher education as a faculty member, as a department chairperson, and since 2004 as a senior administrator in several institutions. He has experience at both the community college and the senior college level, and he most recently comes to us as Associate Provost of Academic Affairs from Miami-Dade, the district office at Miami-Dade in Florida. His portfolio includes a number of departments. He has led college-wide initiatives and provided leadership in the areas of accreditation reports, student learning outcomes, undergraduate program articulation, and institutional and program accreditation reports. He's also secured a number of major grants, including the Gates Foundation. He holds a PhD from the University of Minnesota in child psychology and a Bachelor of Arts in psychology from Haverford College, which has a philosophy of Quaker, which is very good for building consensus. I really feel he will serve our team and our faculty, especially and our students, very well at Queensborough. This is an important position for us. We're very proud to have him join our team. I hope you will give him favorable consideration.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve item 1C5?
So moved.
Motion made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Congratulations, Dr. Reiner. Would you care to address the committee?
Thank you very much. I know that Queensborough changes lives. Having grown up in Queens myself, and many of my high school colleagues went to Queensborough as their first step in higher education. I've met the faculty, I've met staff, administration. I am very impressed by the quality of the work that they do, and I hope to do my best to serve the institution as best I can to improve academic excellence. like to thank the board for their support, and again, thank you very much.
Congratulations to you, too. President Call, will you stay with us, please, to present your next appointment?
Thank you very much. I'd like to present for your consideration the appointment as interim vice president for finance and administration, Bill Faulkner. Bill has joined Queensborough in 2002, and he has served in a number of roles in our business and financial services. He shepherded us through the implementation of CUNY first, particularly the GL, and the other aspects that we were so fortunate to be a part of as a vanguard. Bill has been a great member of our team. We had a search for a vice president. It was not a successful search. And again, I could turn to Bill, as I have over many, many years, and he will join our team in this role, interim vice president, and serve us very well. Bill is an amazing colleague. He's known to many of you throughout the university. And within our college, I think he's held in extremely high regard. So I ask for your support for this appointment.
Thank you. I will now call the question. May I have a motion to approve item 1C6?
So moved.
Will hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Faulkner. Would you care to address the committee?
Well, thank you. I just would like to thank Dr. Call and this committee of the board for this opportunity to serve the students, staff, and faculty of Queensborough Community College, and I look forward to doing so to the best of my ability, and also to serve the university in general. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations. I will now ask Interim President Chase Robinson to rejoin us to introduce item 1C7, an appointment at the Graduate Center.
Thank you very much. I could not be more pleased than to make this request of members of the board. I present to you Mr. Jay Golan. Jay is an extraordinarily accomplished and experienced fundraiser who has spent the greater part of his career at some of New York City's most venerable and high-profile institutions in positions of increasing responsibility. For 16 years, he served as senior director at Carnegie Hall, responsible for all fundraising and board activities. Previously, he served as corporate coordinator for the New York's Public Library and as director of development at WNYC Communications Group. More recently, he was president of Birthright Israel Foundation. He's also served for a number of years as a consultant in strategic planning, development, and institutional marketing, working on projects with prominent cultural and nonprofit institutions. Jay earned his bachelor's and his master's at Harvard, studied at Oxford. Intellectually curious, culturally sophisticated, and deeply experienced in New York City's philanthropic environment, he is an ideal fit for the Graduate Center. Thank you very much.
May I have a motion to approve item 1C7?
So moved.
Motion made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Golan. Would you care to address the committee?
Thank you very much. I will just say that I look forward a great deal to continuing the work and the passion that I have to serve the city of New York with President Robinson and with all of you, and to make some of the great accomplishments of the graduate faculty even more spring to life and spring to light with private support.
Congratulations. That completes our calendar of action items. Section 2 advises the committee of the reappointment of a faculty member with early tenure pursuant to the bylaws. This item appears for information purposes only and does not require a report or a vote. I will now call on Vice Chancellor Warder Waters for her report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As I mentioned at our last meeting, my office has been working on an investment policy statement that will guide the operation of our defined contribution retirement plans. Last week, I circulated a draft policy for your review. I just want to point out that while an investment policy statement is not required by either federal or state law, one that is well-drafted and is followed by the fiduciaries can be helpful in a number of ways. As a practical matter, it can provide the fiduciaries with an agreed-upon roadmap of the objectives they are trying to meet and the process they are going to follow in selecting and monitoring investments. It also can provide the fiduciaries with principles under which they will operate in reaching their decisions. The investment policy statement can also help fiduciaries protect themselves against a complaint that the funds offered under the plan were unsuitable or inappropriate. Fiduciaries meet their obligations by exercising procedural prudence, making sure that the entity follows a careful, prudent process in reaching the decision to select or retain a fund. The purpose of the investment policy statement is to provide fiduciaries with documentation that the prudent decision-making process was followed. I am therefore recommending that the FSA Committee adopt an investment policy statement, which would be submitted for your consideration at the next meeting. I believe that it is a useful tool to help protect plan fiduciaries from exposure to liability in the future. And just give me a minute to go over some of the elements of the proposed policy that has been circulated. It describes a purpose, which is to describe and allocate responsibilities related to investment matters involving the plans. It describes the investment objectives for the plans. It creates a framework and criteria for developing a process for selecting and monitoring the investment options under the plans, and it establishes criteria for ongoing review and evaluation of each investment option. The investment objectives are laid out. They are that it be diversified, that the options allow participants to choose among them to achieve a portfolio with aggregate risk and return characteristics at any point within the range normally appropriate for participants of the plans. It allows a participant to achieve a portfolio that tends to minimize, through diversification, the portfolio's overall risk. And it was to be selected to control administrative management and participant costs. There will be a delegation of responsibilities included in the plan. The Board of Trustees will have the final discretionary authority for decisions regarding the plans, including selecting and terminating investment options, approving the investment policy statement and any amendments, delegating responsibilities to the Committee on Faculty, Staff, and Administration, including the recommendation to hire and or terminate third-party consultants, and monitoring the activities of the Committee on Faculty, Staff, and Administration on a regular basis regarding the plans. The Committee on Faculty, Staff, and Administration shall be responsible for advising the board on all matters relating to the investment options under the plans. There are some other provisions in the policy statement. It lists a list of investment classes that the plan should offer, principles that will be used for selecting, monitoring, and terminating investment funds, and a choice of default investment options. I do encourage you to read the plan, and if you have any questions or comments regarding the policy statement, to please get them to me so that we can either address them or at least discuss what your concerns are.
Are there any questions, comments? Please.
I read this carefully, and it's well written and it's clear. It does create a lot of responsibilities for this committee, and I'm wondering, before this committee, of which I am not a member, but
You're welcome to.
before this committee actually takes some action on this, is there going to be some professional support that would guide the actions of the committee? Because there's some quite specific, I mean, for example, developing and implementing a methodology for reviewing and evaluating the investment options offered under the plan. I don't think the committee has the expertise, not considering, I don't think it has the expertise to do that. So for their own protection, hopefully there will be some professional support.
Yes, it is our intent to actually bring in consultants to help us do exactly what you have suggested, Terry. And those consultants will be
making recommendations to the committee. And so we will have professional support to do that, yes.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions, comments?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
Vice Chancellor, what was the impetus for this initiative?
You know, one of the things that has happened recently in the financial industry, and particularly regarding retirement plans, is that there has been more scrutiny about how investments are made. And in light of that, and in looking across higher education, the industry, with those other colleges and universities that also have plans similar to ours, there is a definite move towards having this kind of statement that really outlines exactly how decisions are going to be made. I mean, one of the things that we don't want is for an investment broker or one of our investment plans to be making decisions about pulling funds or anything without having some kind of input, without us having some input into those decisions. So I think it's important that we maintain some kind of oversight of that process.
I think the liability exists regardless.
Exactly.
Any other questions, comments? There being none, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.